I've had an entire week now with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and there's a lot of hype surrounding this, and I've been really hyped for it. And as you know, when you get hyped up for something, how does it live up to that hype? Was the reality as big as the fantasy? Going into it, I kind of had this idea that me and the missus were going to explore places around the world that we've always wanted to go, and places that we might want to plan a vacation to at some point. We've been stuck in this house raising kids and taking care of our elderly grandmother. It's been several years since we've actually done anything, so we had this idea that we were going to sit down together and mess around with Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 and explore. That was the fantasy. The reality is that we went and found my house. We went and found her dad's house. We went and checked out Dubai. And then that was it. After that, there was no desire to continue exploration as a couple, at least so far, except for when we went and checked out a hurricane. We'll talk about that in a few. The reality is it's mostly me just playing an airplane sim. That's how things really ended up. But that's okay, because it's a really good simulator. I've had a really good time with it. It's beautiful. It's breathtaking. In spite of all its flaws, now I could sit here and pick out clips of recording and show everything wrong that I could find, whether it's a building that's too tall, a tree that's too tall, a patch of ground that's low resolution, or some spike in the terrain that makes no sense that goes up into the clouds. There's things that happen. What the?
Your goal is to complete Sedona's left-hand traffic pattern on your own.
In this?
Remember what we covered in our previous sessions, and you'll be just fine.
You can see the
Good
pavement.
luck. See you on the other side.
But instead of focusing on that and trying to pick it apart, try to respect it for what it is, which is a modern marvel of gaming. And really, it is a beautiful experience. I've seen people call this thing a masterpiece too, and I can't really call it a masterpiece. It's easier to just call it a modern marvel of gaming, because if you call it a masterpiece, then you're trying to say that it's perfect, and it is not perfect. And people say, well, what can you expect? Your experience will vary greatly depending on what you make of the simulator. It's not much of a game, so you may find some excitement when you're trying to do a landing challenge, or you get caught in a bad storm and low visibility, basically flying blind trying to land a plane, or something similar to that, or exploring a long bush trip and trying to get through the long flight. But then again, once you figure out the G1000, for example, you may have moments where you really let me check this out real quick. No. Oh, we're still good. Still good. Luckily, though, you don't have any passengers to freak out and panic if you step outside the airplane to go to the kitchen and make yourself a cheeseburger, or get you a little afternoon delight. I found myself blown away by places I'm unfamiliar with that I've always wanted to check out, and I find myself a little disappointed in places that I'm very familiar with. It had its moments of letdown, sure, but I never in a million years would have thought or imagined that I'd have been able to see the news, a hurricane coming into the Gulf towards me, spawn an airplane in a simulator with live weather, and go fly that hurricane and check it out. Never in a million years. And at those moments, it blows you away. I recently went to fly the two hurricanes coming into the Gulf, Marco and Laura, and I found the eye on one, and at least that's what it looked like I flew into right before dying. And I'll leave you with that experience to check it out yourself, because it blew me away, and it's moments like that that make this thing amazing.